The St. Lawrence Seaway invert stamp has the particularity of being rare and expensive because the center of the images are inverted. The misprint is the best known of all Canadian philately. On the left the nominal value of 5 cents, while in the center the eagle with the leaf symbol of the nation next to it. To date, we know that only 200 people hold this stamp, and the value of one of them can go up to $20,000. The most surprising mistake in Canadian stamps concerns that of Christmas stamps. Occurred when the paper was folded between prints of various colors. The top right piece of a block of 4 30-cent Christmas stamps from 1982 is partially missing 2 colors. Magenta and yellow were omitted after printing in turquoise. This mistake makes this piece a rare stamp and worth $30,000. The 1927 flight from London to London 25-cent, green and yellow stamp was printed in only 100 copies, and 86 of these were lost at sea when the plane of Captain Terence Tully and Lieutenant James Metcalfe crashed in the Atlantic Ocean in the August 1927. At the bottom center the face value of the stamp, that is 25 cents, on the left depicts the face of Captain Tully and on the right the face of Lieutenant Metcalfe. Green and yellow in color, the 13 stamps that still exist today can be worth up to $125,000 per piece. The 1868 2-cent Great Queen stamp is one of the most important pieces in the history of Canadian stamps. Depicting Queen Victoria, she is in profile looking to the right. At the bottom the inscription 2 centissimi, with the numbers next to it. Green in color, today one of these specimens can be worth around $250,000. Canada 12D Black Queen Victoria is the nation's most expensive postage stamp. With a face value of 12 pence, it shows the portrait of Queen Victoria, first issued by Canada in 1851. About 130 copies can be found today in circulation. If you own one of these one-of-a-kind pieces, you'll have a $300,000 stamp on your hands. The 8 stamp was issued on the occasion of the introduction of the single tax rate imposed on all countries of the Commonwealth, an intergovernmental organization between 54 independent states, former colonies of the British Empire. You will notice in red the countries that were part of this organization in 1898, under the inscription that is the motto, "We have a larger empire than it once was," writings that symbolize the power and role that the British Empire had in the create the Commonwealth Federation. On the sides the face value of 2 cents of the Canadian dollar, today this original piece is worth $50. The 50-cent stamp from 1949 depicts deforestation unfortunately practiced in the Canadian region of British Columbia, a geographical area in the west of the country. You will notice 2 workers intent on cutting old trees. In this region there are long expanses of forests formed by giant trees that are even 1,000 years old. On the lower sides the number 50 which indicates the face value of the stamp or 59 Canadian cents. Today this specimen is worth $80. The war effort stamps of 1942 to 1948 were issued during the Second World War. They depict faces, landscapes, military vehicles that symbolize the military planning of the call to arms, a mobilization of human, industrial and economic resources with the intent to take part of the world conflict. With nominal values ranging from 1 cent to 1 Canadian dollar, this entire series is now worth $95 in the collector's market. The King 1916 postage stamp depicts the face put in profile of King George V, ruler of the United Kingdom who remained in office for 26 years from 1910 to 1936. This stamp commemorates his great passion for philately. A great collector of stamps dedicated much of his time to the Royal Philatelic Collection. Around the written, translated Postal Canada, under the nominal value expressed both in numbers and in letters or 2 cents of the Canadian dollar. Today, this sought-after stamp is worth $100. The most sought-after series of Canadian stamps is that of the 7-piece set of George V of 1903 to 1912, with nominal values ranging from 100 to 50 Canadian cents. Each of them depicts the profile bust of the king. Same dress and same position in profile. You can see the 2 royal crowns at the top, symbol of the royal power of the United Kingdom. Today, this super sought-after set is worth $450. Of 1933 and 1934. Come in 4 pieces of nominal values, ranging from 1 to 10 Canadian cents. 1 Canadian dollar is divided into 100 cents. On all these pieces you will be able to see on the center the nominal value to number reported in large. Above the words postage due. which is written in the French language. The latter is the co-official language together with the English language. This is because Canada is populated for 24% by French people. Under the face value you will see the inscriptions, cents to be received, Canada. Today this quatrain together is worth $27. The political stamps of 1927 depict the busts of several politicians who have held important roles in Canadian politics. On the 5-cent Canadian dollar stamp, you will notice the bust of Thomas D'Arcy McGee, who in 1867 served as a member of the West Canadian Parliament, believed to be the father of the Canadian Confederation, or a process by which some British, Scottish and other provinces present in the country they came together in a single Canadian federation. On the 12-cent stamp instead, the bust of Wilfrid Laurier, 7th President Prime Minister in office for 14 years from 1896 to 1911. On the right the bust of John Alexander Macdonald, 1st President Prime Minister who ruled Canada for 6 years from 1867 to 1873. Unfortunately the hard fist towards the Amerindian people present in the central Canadian plains can be traced back to him, who forcibly appropriated their lands, causing famines and mass executions. On the 20-cent stamp, on the left the bust of Robert Baldwin, joint Premier of the province of Western Canada for several non-continuous years. From 1842 to 1851, he led the first government in the Western Canadian province without revolution and violence. To the right, the bust of LaFontaine, first Premier of Eastern Canada, in office for several non-continuous years from 1842 to 1851. These three original stamps are now worth $34 together. The historical postage stamps of Canada year 1946 depict landscapes, vehicles, architecture of the country, of various face values ranging from 1 to 50 Canadian cents. On the center, the history and culture of the country is represented. Over the inscription Canada. Under the value of the stamp reported in letters or cents. On the sides the value shown as a number. Stamps issued in hundreds of miles of pieces. Today if you have this whole collection it's worth $40. The 5th King George stamps issued from 1911 to 1916 depict the bust of the ruler who ruled the United Kingdom and the British overseas dominions for 26 years from 1910 to 1936. Canada is part of the Commonwealth realm countries. It was among the first countries along with the United Kingdom to establish this international body. On the center, the king's profile faces left. George V is also remembered for having been a great lover of philately. In fact it was he who created the Royal Philatelic Collection, with nominal values ranging from 1 to 50 Canadian cents. Above the bust is written, Canadian Post. Below the picture, the value of the stamp shown both in letters and numbers on the sides. If you own all these 7 original pieces, then you'll have a $110 value on hand. The King and Landscape stamps issued in 1930 and 1931. They depict for stamps worth 1 cent to 8 cents. The portrait of the 5th King George. You will notice the classic writings shown both at the top of the image, that is, Canada, is below the value shown in letters and a number. On the pieces from 10 cents to 1 Canadian dollar, there are buildings and landscapes that are part of Canada. This complete collection is now worth $135.